Alright, welcome to the defense replays for this week of Ether Age, the first week that I have Balder on defense, although she wasn't here for all of it, but she was here for most of it. So, as you can see, as of recording, no losses taken. Starting off here with the old defense because I wasn't able to figure out what to do in time to, put up a fresh set. But yeah, the old defense still put in work, especially in like the earlier matches, like the first one or two, maybe three matches, unless you get unlucky and you match into someone who knows what they're doing. But yeah, typically for the first set of matches, Erica is enough to handle most people that match into the team. I gotta give shout outs or I gotta point out or highlight Goldberry because so many people were doubting her in the last video, saying that she was doing nothing, but this is actually very helpful to this specific defensive build. Her weapon offered a lot of debuffs and stuff to help, particularly Tree Man and Rhea survive in some of those melee matchups. Didn't really help her like Goldberry herself, like let's say against someone like Erica. Like if Erica wanted to attack her, it probably wouldn't have been the best thing for Goldberry. She could live like maybe one or two combats, or the first two hits at the very least, but if she's getting outsped, she typically loses that matchup. But it helps the armored units, and that was the most important thing for this particular defensive build, since there wasn't a way for me to get healing in there, so that's why she's here with Breath of Life. And then also, she gave the extra support stats, which very, very helpful. So that's why she's here on this team, or in this version of the team. I have since made adjustments, and you will see that in the defenses to come, or in the replays to come rather, where she is no longer on the team. So now I got to figure out what to do with my Goldberry, who I really like. It's just that she can't kill anything because she has to run Godlike Reflex. Maybe the new arch rival is good on her. There's the thought. I completely forgot that this guy existed in the game. And you know why? What reminded me was I was playing that game mode, Your Time to Shine, and I got to the top and I was like, oh shit, it's Ike. Because I brought a team that was totally trash. Brave Edelgard, OG Legendary Ike, Brave Elliewood, and Hell, the defense mythic. And they could not do a single thing to Emblem Ike. And I'm not sure how I feel about Ike getting destroyed like this by Erica. Even though, a couple more stats to his health there, probably would have survived. But I don't know how I feel about Emblem units being able to defeat other Emblem units. I feel like they should all be unique and have their own specific niche. But when I look at some, or like especially the earlier ones, I don't really like the fact that Erica is able to just solo Ike like that. It doesn't feel right. It shouldn't be like that. There should be a way for him to counteract that. Hopefully there will be at some point in the future. But for right now, I don't like that he's dying. So here we go. This is a new defense. I had to change my team for Your Time to Shine just because Emblem Ike was the final boss and I didn't have anyone with Hardy Bearing to deal with him. So I had to swap out the entire team. I had to basically surrender, swap out the team, and go back in from the beginning, which was a pleasant surprise because it means that I got to use Sonya, who I never used, and OG Blue Micaiah, which was a ton of fun. Had her with a Hardy Bearing, and with the skills, she got reflex as we went up the ladder, and she was able to take out Ike. Just showing off my Celine there because she is still very, very good. And then I think I forgot one of the other things that I was talking about. What was I talking about before? Arch rival on Goldberry. I think that might be the play to see, just some better performance. Her killing power is what she lacks, and she doesn't get that with Godlike Reflexes. So maybe if she's able to run Arch Rival, we can see some promise or some more use out of her. So I'm going to give that a shot, hopefully, because as you would have seen, I only have like 73 orbs, so Hopefully I get lucky on the banner and get something that is, or get, the skill that I actually would like to fodder, and then pass it off, see how that goes. But for now, this is the new defense. This unit right here, Malice, I did some testing with her and she is actually insane with this build. This is very good. Unfortunately, you won't get to see it this week. No one really matched into the defense and forced her to take action. Unfortunately, for what she has to offer, this offensive team here has Camilla, who can completely neutralize her whole miracle gimmick, so none of what she offers really worked in this particular matchup. But trust me, this Malice, or that build on Malice, is really good. And ultimately what you'll see here throughout this particular defense replay is that this opponent lost because they just didn't have enough action economy after they gambled on that trap with Edelgard. That was a big... it's not a mistake, but it was just a unfortunate outcome for them. If that trap had been fake, they would have been able to do a lot more with Edelgard. 3 actions, no, so they would have been able to get a lot further with the undefended and everything else that they were doing. Undefended still works very well against my team. The only way to stop that is to bring Freyr. But as you can see here, dual Rhea is still alive, dual hindrance is still active, so they don't get the extra dance and they don't get the extra actions. Not that they would have had enough to clear this team unless they danced Edelgard, which would have been 3, and depending on who they left alive, I probably would have still gotten a kill. So well, no, I guess, 3. So yeah, they wouldn't have had enough to take out everyone here. So yeah, this is how that goes when you make mistakes like that. One of the things that was very difficult with adding Boulder to the defense was figuring out where on Earth or on the map to put the surprise summoning circle. I really just couldn't figure out where to put it, and I ultimately ended up putting it in front of the front line, in front of Balder. That's not the best place to put it, but because of where the far saves were, I wanted the unit there to be covered by both near and far save. Worst case scenario, I think ultimately a better unit, an armored unit, like I said, those are really the best units for that slot. It's probably going to end up going there. I'm thinking of, like, if I ever get Armored Bro, I think I'll probably end up putting him in that secret slot, because I feel like he's just the one built for it in terms of survivability. What he offers, I'll probably just swap out his C skill so that he doesn't mess up with the save thing. But yeah, I think him and Fallen Alir are really the best units for that surprise mechanic currently, because of their bulks. Someone here just not knowing what to do, or either they forgot how Camilla works, and we clean up with Camilla. She's still the main damage dealer on this team, because I had to swap out Erica. Well, I didn't, but I probably could have figured out a way to get Erica in. No, yeah, Erica had to go, unfortunately. So yeah, because Boulder is it was either drop Tree Man, put in another save, or put Erica in the surprise mechanic, and I didn't like those options. So yeah. Camilla is the main damage dealer, and she's still performing very, very well. Oblivion has been saying that she's been released several generations too early. Several versions too early in the game. I feel like he was saying that she's a unit that should have been released next year, and I kind of agree with him just because of how much she does. And primarily, the thing that makes her so obnoxious is the warping. The pass warping melee. It is just impossible to deal with. Unless you're going to see someone actually deal with it a little bit later on. But otherwise, aside from what they do, Camilla is just a menace. Very difficult to tank, very difficult to handle. And yeah, I definitely think she was released a bit too early. She definitely feels like a unit that should have been released next year. Yeah. Erica, the thing about Erica, Emblem Erica, is you just have to outspeed her. If you're not getting hit 4 times, you're probably going to live. If either you're going to kill or you'll just survive. So that's the thing about Emblem Erica. Camilla, very difficult to outspeed her, and she just hits so hard that it doesn't even matter if you can, win the speed check. She's probably just going to one-shot you anyway. Boulder doing some work, getting some hits in. Really wondered why the Seiya was here. You know what's so well, to be fair, triangle attack had fallen off before that ice tribe or skateboard ice skating Thea came out. Triangle attack had already fallen off. I just feel like she didn't really get an opportunity to be good, which is kind of unfortunate. Because I really think she has like a really lovely design, that Thea. But it's just that, triangle attack was already dead, so she was reintroducing a gimmick that was no longer needed. And I don't think we're going to need it for a while, because most of the units that armored units are just so bulky now that even hitting 4 times doesn't matter. So yeah, that's really unfortunate, but at least she's another option. There's 4 of them rather, so you can do what you want with them. And here's someone who somehow failed to win, even though they had 2 Lins and an Umbla. I guess it's just not enough. Probably a dancer. If they had a dancer in that surprise mechanic hole, then maybe they would have performed a bit better, but they really just didn't have the time to. Well, maybe if they. Oh no, they didn't have the time. The fence would have kicked in, actually, so maybe they could have just waited. But I don't know. There's probably not a dancer in there. So, went in too early, not enough actions, only one outcome once the team starts moving. Getting rid of Camilla is probably the best thing to do here, but yeah, they realized that they just didn't have enough to do anything else. It's 2 units taken out, not enough to really get the match over or to give them a, absolute victory. So yeah, here we go, continuing on. Undefeated this week so far, which is, man, I really should work on my merges for light season, because I think my light defense my dark defense is way better than my animal ones, but Peony is the only one that I would consider merging. I've tried getting Hearthwelger, but I've always gotten the worst blue unit on the banner. Whenever she's on a banner and she's color sharing, I always get the worst options, so I've just given up on getting Hearthwelger. This is a very nice layer. I've actually forgotten to upgrade my dragon flowers on the units that I have high dragon flowers on, so I'm probably going to do that when this is over. So this is the guy that actually has a plan to deal with Camilla, and it's pretty easy. Hardy Bearing plus Rhea, well, not necessarily Rhea, but Hardy Bearing in general just allows you to get the hit back before she can kill you, and Rhea just doesn't take too much damage there. But problem is, what do you do about the rest of your team? To be fair, he had no additional space. Too much stuff in the back row, and surprise, surprise, Ather is the surprise nuke on this team. She gets pretty far, and she hits decently well, especially if she's able to get Ice Wall off. I was trying to figure out a way to give her some more offensive special jump, but just didn't come to mind, and I needed her to be able to survive against Lins if she was getting hit with undefended, which she does do consistently, or very well rather, in most situations with just her base kit, which is very impressive. So yeah, this Summer Ather, I am very high on her. She's really, really good, and that's why she's here. I considered putting her duo version in there, but the summer version just performs so much better. First showing here from the new Byleth, and that B skill is trash. Bulwark in the sea, which means that they've updated him just a bit, but as you can see here, really doesn't matter, because like I said, Camilla is just years ahead, and or versions ahead, and she gets to cheat. All she needs to do is win the speed check, and you can't really stop her any other way. And the thing I've been saying this about Byleth is that he's not a tank. It's very easy to outspeed him, unless you have like a ton of merges and support, and this isn't the most supported Byleth that you've ever seen. Camilla just goes around and gets KOs pretty easily. because Gale Force on Camilla, I think, is the best play. Look at her losing the speed check here, but doesn't matter. One shot. Yeah, Gale Force on Camilla really is the best thing. And even Boulder here, this animation is so cool. Man, that's so cool. Yeah, even Boulder here getting in on the action. I would love for her to get her specials off more consistently because her special lines are really, really cool. But she's doing exactly what I wanted her to do, which was be threatening, get kills. She's essentially the showpiece for this week, just to show off how she performs. A lot slower than I thought she would be. Probably a merge thing, but I don't think I'm ever going to actually get additional copies of her, so I'm just going to have to deal with it. And yeah, these are some of the final couple of replays. As you can see, or as you saw, overall I'd have to say that the defense performed really well. I still don't know what to do about that surprise summoning circle. It really kind of messes with my trap placements. Ideally, I would not like to leave that spot open for, you know, the opponent to just go up there and smack my defense, but I don't know what else to do. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. Thor is bonus for next week, thankfully, so we don't have to stress about team building, and we'll see how Ather Holder performs as well. GG's, see you in the next one.